Hypothyroidism is one of the most common endocrine conditions in the world, often affecting women 2 to 8 times more than men. Hypothyroidism can be caused by autoimmune thyroiditis, Hashimoto's disease, and is characterized by low thyroid hormone levels affecting multiple body functions, such as heart rate, body temperature, and all aspects of metabolism. Recent evidence suggests that hypothyroidism may be linked to small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, which is associated with slowed gut motility and altered gut microbiota. But what are the links between hypothyroidism and SIBO? In this study, researchers analysed small bowel microbes and assessed long-term SIBO risk in patients with hypothyroidism and autoimmune thyroiditis. The study used two complementary approaches. Reimagine study participants received an upper endoscopy, and researchers collected fluid from the duodenal lumen. Subjects with and without hypothyroidism were included. Those samples were then split. One part was cultured on agar plates to determine if there was bacterial overgrowth, while the other was used for shotgun sequencing to determine the microbes present in the small bowel. In parallel, researchers used a TriNetX study, which encompasses de-identified electronic health records from over 140 million subjects, to compare the 10-year incidence of SIBO in adults with hypothyroidism and autoimmune thyroiditis. And here are the results. First, for reimagined subjects, we found that subjects with hypothyroidism were more than twice as likely to have SIBO when compared to subjects without hypothyroidism. The prevalence of SIBO was even higher in subjects with hypothyroidism who also had autoimmune thyroiditis. Our analysis of the larger TriNetX database confirmed these findings, indicating that subjects with hypothyroidism were more than twice as likely to develop SIBO compared to those without. When subjects were stratified according to age, biological sex, and BMI, this association between having hypothyroidism and the risk of developing SIBO was consistently elevated across all of these groups. Interestingly, when we looked at individuals with hypothyroidism who were taking levothyroxine, we found them to have a significantly lower risk of developing SIBO compared to untreated individuals. Subjects with autoimmune thyroiditis also had an increased risk of developing SIBO, and again, that held true across the age, biological sex, and BMI subgroups. Further, subjects with autoimmune thyroiditis who were taking levothyroxine also had a significantly lower risk of developing SIBO. Together, these findings suggest that levothyroxine treatment may have a protective effect against the development of SIBO in subjects with hypothyroidism and autoimmune thyroiditis. Diving deeper into the microbiome of subjects with hypothyroidism, we examined 4 groups from the Reimagined study. Subjects without SIBO or hypothyroidism, subjects without SIBO but with hypothyroidism, subjects with SIBO but not hypothyroidism, and subjects with SIBO and hypothyroidism. Small bowel, duodenal, microbial alpha diversity was not significantly different between the groups. However, there were significant differences in duodenal microbial profiles, beta diversity, across the groups. Looking at subjects without SIBO, the genus Neisseria formed part of the core duodenal microbiome in those with hypothyroidism, but not in patients without hypothyroidism. In subjects with SIBO, the gram-negative coliform genus Escherichia shigella is more prevalent when the subject does not have hypothyroidism. This profile is typical of subjects with SIBO. In subjects with both SIBO and hypothyroidism, species from the genus Neisseria remain prevalent. However, another type of gram-negative coliform is present, the genus Klebsiella. People with higher levels of Klebsiella have more disrupted duodenal microbial communities, suggesting that the gut microbiome may be more disturbed in individuals who have both hypothyroidism and SIBO. Together, the Reimagine and TriNetX datasets provided both direct microbial and large-scale clinical evidence linking hypothyroidism to changes in the small bowel microbiome and an increased risk of SIBO.